This episode of the Flush Podcast is brought to you by North Dakota Tourism, Federal Premium Ammunition, Onyx Hunt, Chief Upland, Huron, South Dakota, and by Grain Belt Premium Beer. We're in the heart of the upland hunting seasons across the country, and Scott Fransen just returned from back-to-back trips in North Dakota. We'll get Scott's field report and talk about the light switch that turned on for his young pup. That dog will hunt.
The Flush. So fast, it hardly seems real. So vivid, the moment freezes in time before erupting in a blur of spurs and feathers. It's why we changed the way upland loads are built with Prairie Storm. Exclusive flight control FlexWad technology and a mix of copper-plated lead and flight stopper pellets combine to create dense, deadly shot strings through any choke. Longer shots, more power, fewer missed birds. Only from Federal.
If you're looking for a great bird hunting destination this season, then I strongly recommend that you consider one of my favorite places to hunt. That's North Dakota. North Dakota is a bird hunting paradise. You can hunt waterfowl and upland birds all in the same day. Ducks and geese in the morning, pheasant, sharp-tailed grouse, and Hungarian partridge in the afternoon, or vice versa. North Dakota has a population estimate of 2.9 million breeding ducks, which is 19% above the long-term average, and their prairie pothole region is smack dab in the middle of the Central Flyway. This year's drought has had an impact on North Dakota's landscape and their bird populations, but there are still regions in the state that have seen an increase in numbers this season. Yep, you heard that right. With a little scouting, you just might find yourself in the field surrounded by wild fleshing birds, creating memories that will last you a lifetime. North Dakota has approximately 800,000 acres of private land open to public walk-in hunting. For the latest plots guide, visit the North Dakota Game and Fish Department. Bag your limit this fall in North Dakota. Visit legendarynd.com to start planning your hunting adventure today. Welcome to another episode of the Flush Podcast. I'm Travis Frank. I'm your host. Brandon Morton, as always, produces this show. And sitting next to me today is Scott Fransen, fellow bird hunter, owner of Ron Share Productions. But Scott and I, sometimes we don't get enough work done because we're talking about all of the hunts that we've been on. And so we figured instead of talking about all these hunts that we've been on recently, let's just make it work and record a podcast. So let's do this, Scott. You ready?
Yeah, it is kind of work, and we still get to talk about the hunts, right?
Exactly. I just got out of the field. I was in Minnesota. You just got out of a field. You were in North Dakota. You went on back-to-back hunts out there, but these were pretty special hunts for you because you've got a new pup. We've talked about Millie multiple times before on the podcast. But she makes her first television debut.
She did.
On the Flush. Coming up, we'll be able to watch this hunt. But before you guys went on her first hunt, you were out there with buddies, right? Where'd you go?
We were up in far northwest North Dakota, and you're right. I was up there with buddies. It was kind of Millie's tune-up before she had the camera on her.
Did you feel like a sense of just, I need to go do this before there's extra pressure on, or not really?
A little, Travis. I didn't want her very first wild bird hunt to be fully on the camera because, as you know, when we're filming, we're hunting. It's a dream job, but we are working, and you're checking boxes to make sure you're getting what you want for a show, and
putting the cameraman in position,
miking people up. You have other guests you're hunting with or friends with different dogs. You want to make sure that your dog is not the one blowing the chute.
I think that's the number one pressure point for everybody that we film with, because after the fact, they're always like, "Oh gosh, I was so worried that my dog was going to mess this up."
I know it is, this trip was already planned. I just lucked out that it worked this way because it wasn't something I thought out for a lot of time. It worked out. I had this trip planned, And then when I was pulling together the flush shoot, it just worked out that it was after it and pretty close. So it was more luck than anything.
We've been going up to North Dakota for many, many years, right? You're kind
have,
of like I
yeah,
am.
yeah.
We do the exact same type of thing, different parts of the state, move around, but really just do it yourself hunting trips.
Right. And this was an area that I hunted last year a couple of times. That's far northwest corner. But then when we filmed, it was more middle of the state west of Bismarck near the Hebron area. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but
Probably not.
Now, Aaron Ochtenberg, who's from North Dakota, I think would correct me. But and then I hunt in the southeast corner a lot. So it is fun exploring the different parts of the state. And what I have really enjoyed, and we've talked about this before on the podcast and just in general, is as you move a little further west or north, you run into sharptail, you run into Huns, and I can say in both the areas I hunted, we saw both, and I saw some big groups of Huns. In both
What
places.
average size?
I'd say coveys of 10 to 15.
Yeah.
One time we were driving down a road, it was kind of too hot to hunt, so we were scouting some other areas. We're on a dirt road, and like 4 popped up on the dirt road, and then 3 more and 4 more, and all of a sudden there's 15 of them running up the road from us.
I love that.
It was so cool. And where I hunt in southeast North Dakota, we used to see Huns fairly regularly, but I haven't seen them for years.
You want to know something?
What?
I saw a covey of Huns in Minnesota 2 days ago.
That is so cool. I used to see them in Minnesota too, down where I went to school, down by St. Peter in that area. We would see them. Yeah.
Yep. I was about an hour and a half west of there.
Okay.
And that's where all of a sudden we're driving down the road, and Brian, the guy in the truck with me, I go, Brian, are those Huns? And he goes, oh my gosh, those are Huns. Watch them. And they went down right in the field, like 40 yards off the road. It was a cut cornfield, but there was 8 of them. And it was like, in my mind, the whole day hunting, I walked up to this old farm equipment in the field that hadn't been touched in about 70 years, it looked like. And I was thinking, oh my gosh, if a covey of Huns get up out of here, I'm going to put one on the wall. I don't even care if it's not prime or it doesn't matter.
I don't know why. For me, for some reason, Travis, it makes me feel like the upland world's in balance.
Yeah.
That there's multiple species in the field, and it's not just pheasants or not just sharptails or something. When you can see a couple or even 3, it's like, oh, that's a good sign.
Yeah, the last time I was in North Dakota, I remember we flushed just dozens and dozens of sharptails. And I remember holding one, and I looked at the camera and I said, when I hold one of these and there's a lot of them in the field, it just tells me, it feels like everything is right.
Agreed.
Because they are the true upland bird, native to that land out there. And we've obviously introduced pheasants and Huns into that same habitat. But if the native birds are doing well, that tells me that things are okay. And that's
agree.
a good thing.
I agree. And then I have grown more fond since we've been doing the show of sharptails, of Huns, because it's a different flush. It's you can be in the same area and all of a sudden you're expecting a gaudy rooster to get up and the bumblebees shoot up, whether it's Huns or it's like I can't. I'm now getting to the point where I'm a little quicker on it. But sometimes I'm just what is that? I got to shoot.
The first time it happens, if it's never happened to you before, the first time it kind of just takes you back for a second.
Yes.
And then you don't know what to do. And then most likely, if you've never seen it and they get up, you probably didn't shoot because you're so like, what the heck was that?
Right.
And then once it happens, you're like, oh, I hope we get to see that again.
Yeah.
I want to take a shot. And then I love pheasant hunting, but I have grown in love with some of the other birds. And a couple weeks ago, I was in Nebraska, and some of the guys we're talking with, they said, I feel like the popularity of some of these other birds are growing.
I agree. Yes.
The Hungarian partridge, the sharp-tailed grouse, people are planning trips. I mean, heck, I was in Montana for the sharp-tailed grouse opener this year on September 1st, and we were a month and 20 days or a month and 15 days early for pheasant season, but it didn't matter. I was able to go out. The dog work is phenomenal.
Yep.
And we're going to get to dog work, especially because of your pup here, but just the true fun of those hunts, the challenge that comes with it. So anyway, get us back into the field. What were you seeing out there?
Oh my gosh! Well, I saw really good bird numbers in North Dakota, and in varieties. And when on my first hunt, we hunted a combination of private land and public or plots land. And on the private land we were on, it was a lot of kind of small dried slough or ditches type of hunting, and there were birds.
Were there any water in those little sloughs?
Not the smaller ones were kind of dried up. Okay. The large ones had water, but it had been dry, but they had gotten moisture, late moisture. And then they had snow the week before we were there. So there was like standing puddles in the motel we were staying at. That gradually
inside the motel? Not
inside, but in the parking lot. I mean, like big ones. It's like, am I going to get my truck out of here? And then on the public land, that's kind of where, well, Millie's light clicked in before that. We had a plots hunt in a morning where she hunted like an adult dog. I was amazed, surprised, and just so happy to follow her. There's just two of us. The story goes, I'll tell the story, Trey. I know you want to hear this story. The listeners really want to hear this story.
It's why you're on the show today, Scott. So tell the story.
So we had a piece of plots we wanted to hunt. And we got, for some reason, we were 10 or 15 minutes late leaving in the morning. We got to the spot and someone was just pulling in. And we're like, oh, crap. I can't believe that. Well, all the plots lands in North Dakota in this area, there's someone here. Okay. So there was another piece we had hunted the year before, and we saw birds there. And I told my friend, I said, let's just go up there. And I could tell he was less than excited to be doing this. He's become a little bit of a private land snob, because, it's like, well, I like going there because you see more birds.
Right, yeah. But look at all of it. Let's go knock on that guy's door.
So we pull up there, and it's a big piece of plots. It's probably 3/4 of a section, or at least a half section. And so we get ready and we go out and we start walking, and there's a nice northwest wind coming, and both dogs start winding birds right away. And we end up splitting. He's following his dog and I'm following Millie. And she's birdie. She's hot. She's got up a few hens. I think she got on a rooster that I followed for a long time. We were just talking about, followed quickly. And he got up far away, but it clicked in. She was working really hard. And after that, I stopped her. I'm giving her a drink of water, and I just happened to look to my left, and there was a dried up slough that had some sort of brown seedy weed in it. I don't know what that is, but it's wild. And I watch as like 3 birds pitch into it from
how far away?
It's probably 100 yards, 150 yards, and they were up on the wheat stubble they'd been eating, and they're pitching back down there to loaf. And I said, Millie, that last one was a rooster. We're going down there. So I walk way around and get in there, and we start working. She gets hot right away. I'm assuming it's the same rooster. I'm not sure. She puts up the rooster. I shoot it. Boom, she's on it. And it's like, it's just Millie and me.
That's the best. I'm so glad that it was just the two of you. I remember the first time when Daisy did that. The only problem with my story is she worked it. This rooster gets up and I botched it. There's so many times where I can say that, all that work you put into it, and then, oh gosh, the dog's looking back like, hey, you didn't pull your weight here, Dad.
Right. Yeah. And then we kept pushing it out, and I think she got up a few hens. She was hot the whole way. As we got to the end, she was really birdie. So we pushed some birds out of this into the grass. We followed that. I think a rooster got up a long ways away, but I was like, oh, and that was another one where I'm on her and I'm half walking at a sprinter's pace and then jogging, which is not pretty. And then we get up the birds.
We're glad the camera wasn't following that one.
Yeah. So I stop and I see my buddy off in the distance, and he's following his dog, and I turn back around, because now we're another 100 yards from this thing, and 14 more birds pitch in there from the hillside again. Same spot.
Where you just walked from?
I just was. So now I'm like, oh, I'm getting steep. So I walk towards him, I'm waving, he's waving me over, so we finally meet up, and he goes, oh my gosh, I just fanned on one I should have had, and I'd heard the 3 shots. And whenever you hear 3 shots, you're not with somebody, rarely is that a hit. And he goes, well, I bumped 2 birds, and they're sitting down right over there. We should go get them. They're 2 roosters. And I said, well, I just watched like 5 pitch into there. We should both hunt that. So we do it. And we go in there, and his dog we went to the very end. His dog got a little excited, and we start bumping birds. Well, as we get to the end, in the middle, I hit one bird and it sailed, and we went back later and we did find that bird, but then she flushed another one. I shot that one shot and was down, and then as both my buddy's dog and Millie are on it, another rooster gets up, and I couldn't shoot at that one because A, I think I had my limit, and B, it was the dogs. But it distracted the dogs, and we looked for a half hour for that bird and never found it. And I don't know if I was going to tell you that. I don't know if it was one of these things, there's so much scent that they lost the scent, because I was pretty sure the bird I shot was stoned. I mean, it went down hard. And or what changed? And because my friend's dog is 4, so he's had many seasons. It was Millie's first. They couldn't find it. Anyways, it was a blast. Yeah. Well, then we ended up finding those 2 other roosters too. We went back the other way. They got up right where my friend was, and we got both of those. So I think we walked out of the field with 5 birds, and which was one short of our limit.
Oh, but the work that you've put into the dog is probably what I'm assuming the proud dad in you.
That's why I train my dogs, is to have that moment, whether it's their first moment or a big moment with them. You know, that it's a partnership. It's a sense, we talked about this in many of the shows, you're a team, and when the team works, so to speak, you feel good about that.
Yeah.
And she, what I was, you never know this, but I've not had a dog that hasn't been this way. She was into it, and she was having fun.
She has the prey drive.
Yes. Yeah, I've seen it in my yard where she goes after robins and red squirrels and stuff. But they're having fun. They're enjoying it, which makes me enjoy it even that much more.
How old is she right now?
She is about 7.5 months.
Okay.
So she was, I think, just 7 months or just about 7 months when she went out.
When do you think the light switch had turned on for her? Because you'd been taking her out, walking, taking her to a horse and hunt club here in Minnesota to let her smell of pheasant, to know what we're doing. And you've shown me videos.
Yeah.
And the proud dad. We talk about this dang near every day. Between our dogs and our kids, there's always something.
That's a good question. I think where I saw her natural instincts kicked in was, yes, the first time we kind of put some live pigeons and quail out for them, that there was interest, barking, and then then eventually no hesitation to pick them up and some smelling. But I saved those birds. I think I told you this, and froze them, and then set them out. I have an area near my house that has some just really small, a weed patch or grass patch, I'd call it, that I could hide them. And I did that, and then had one of my daughters bring her out, and there was a nice wind coming into her face, and my daughter and I watched her win these birds and get excited.
And she was really young at that time.
And she was 4 months.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe 5. It was probably 4 or 5 months, and she found them, and that was really cool. And then I did it again a couple of times, and then I'd gradually just kind of increase some of it a little bit more. And then before I went wild bird hunting, I took her out one more time to a game preserve, and I think I put out 6 birds. Watched where they put them out, and she got them all up. I shot them all but one because it was kind of a flush where I couldn't shoot whatever. And she found them all. And one almost, except for one, she almost made a wonderful water retrieve on one, got out to where I thought the bird was, and it wasn't there. So I don't know if it dove or where it was. But really towards the end, Travis, is where I saw her hunting, because there was a couple of areas where I figured we'd moved some of the birds to. It was thicker canary grass. I wasn't working her. She was hunting on her own. And the last one that fell in the water, she put it up. I shot it, went down. She marked it. She was trying to go get it. She followed my hand signals to it. And it would have just been, I had my wife, Jean, recording. I'm like, this is going to be the best thing ever, Jean, you got to get this. And we didn't find it. So I don't know what happened to it, but
Best ever.
I know. But then I knew she was ready for the real thing, and the real thing's different. You know that.
Yeah.
I mean,
they run away from you.
Yes, they run away. They don't die the same way, you know. And
I mean, your dog runs away from you.
Oh no, she didn't do that.
Yeah,
She did that on the film, and she didn't run away. She got
Okay.
lost in the corner. That's a different story.
I was gonna say you get to check that box off too.
She didn't run away on the first time. And you know what? And what she did, the other thing she did is we did get in some huns.
Mm-hmm.
We shot 3 huns in over a small little cattail slough. She found every one of those birds without me telling her to, so to speak, like saying, fetch it up there.
Mm-hmm.
She found 2 in the cattails, thick cattails that they were a little wounded. So I think they're leaving some scent for her, but the other one was out beyond the cattails. Yes. And it was moving, and it buried itself under the cattails, and that little pup got her head all the way under. She was up to her shoulders and comes out with a hun.
Isn't that just the coolest thing?
Yes.
Where you've got this bummed feeling that there's a bird that you just dropped and you can't find it.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden the dog comes out with it, and you're,
like, oh my gosh.
yes,
Yes.
just the pure excitement. Anybody right now listening has been there. They know that feeling of, oh, it's gone. And then all of a sudden, no way.
Yeah,
Good
elation,
girl, good boy.
relief, because I
Yes.
hate losing birds, and then just the kind of pride you feel is like, oh wow, it worked. Some of the stuff I was doing, more of that's them, but it's bringing that out, you know, and she. I would say this about Millie. She's my 7th dog. She's the only one I've trained by herself because I lost Hank of the last 3. I think especially for upland hunting, she's the furthest along at her age.
That was my next question. How early in their hunting careers did your other dogs click?
Well, I had them all out around the same age as, Izzy would have been, she was a little older, so she would have been like 10 months old.
And hold on a second, that noise that you hear, here, come here, Millie.
Here, Mills. Come here.
She stopped now. Yeah. The bone noise you're hearing, that's Millie right there. She's in the room here with us, just going crazy. So if you hear a background noise, that's
not me chewing a bone. It's actually the dog.
Yes. So anyway, it obviously depends on when the litter. When they were born.
But I had 3 dogs that were March, April litters, and they all hunted that first fall. My oldest dog in that one, Gus, he, I can't remember as much in the upland hunting. He just was a really good hunter. I do remember, and I've talked about this. He made a unbelievable duck retrieve at 6 months. That I'm like, okay, he gets it. But I wonder with Millie, because she didn't have Hank to follow in the field, because sometimes they get okay, this is my buddy at home, and he's out there doing. I'm just going to follow them, and they're more interested in following the older dog and seeing what they're doing on. But that can also help them click into the smells, and when an older dog is getting birdie, and they kind of go, oh, I'm going to get excited too. But I also wonder if she didn't have that it helped her hunting instincts come out quicker, or something.
Well, and I've had dog trainers on this show, and just in my travels, I talk to a lot of dog trainers too, and a lot of them will say it's in there. If mom and dad gave it to them,
right?
And people are so worried about taking them out in the field, putting them on birds, getting them on the game farm, and will they know what to do? Will they know what to do? And it comes back continuously to obedience. That's what your job is to teach obedience.
Right.
The dog has been given the drive to hunt by the parents.
The instincts, the bloodlines.
They're not going to forget
that.
the smell of the bird. And I had to keep reminding myself that when I had to just work through that hard-headed Daisy of mine to get her to hunt with me and not for herself. But I'm assuming your dog doesn't run nearly as far away from you as mine likes to do.
No, she hunts real close.
Cool.
Really, the biggest thing I have to work with her on now is when there's no bird. You know, she's following them, which it's a good thing at this age.
She's a pup still.
She's a pup, but I have to, you know, she comes back, but she's going to learn what no bird means, or that yes is. Believe it or not, your dad does miss every once in a while.
I was going to say that one you should have had.
Yeah, and then to come back from that. But my philosophy is, I don't ever use electricity on that unless she's really, really ignoring me when she knows what I want her to do, because I personally like having my dog mark birds, so for the full sake that I don't want to lose them, you know, and so. She made a retrieve on the hunt we did that we filmed on a bird that the two guys I was hunting with, Jim and Dan, shot. And I thought, I kind of turned my head, and Jim goes, "No, that bird's going down." I turned back, and she had marked it and was on it and did about a 70-yard retrieve.
That's awesome.
So I'll
you
take
were
that
out there
any day.
just strutting like a big old rooster too, weren't you?
Bring it in, Mills.
Well, who did you hunt with? It was a pretty special hunt. That one.
I did a show with Dan Berglove, who owns Millie's mom, and that's who I bred Hank to. And then he has one of Millie's sister, Junebug. And then Jim Wood, who is the veterinarian for both or all three dogs, but he was the one who made the love connection, if you will, between Lucy and Hank.
And he's the local vet here, right?
He's our local vet, yes. And then, so we hunted 2 days together on some property that Dan likes to hunt in some public places. And then we had the pleasure of hunting with a flush fan, so to speak.
A viewer reached out.
Yeah.
Did he reach out to you specifically?
He did. He sent me, Ryan Colling is his name, and he sent me a really neat message via Facebook last January. And it was after we had posted the Ode to Izzy on our YouTube page. And the show struck a chord with him, and he just wanted to send a note and said he is a big fan of the show. And if I was ever near Dickinson, North Dakota, and wanted to hunt, he'd love to hunt. And he kind of said, you might ask why, and the reason why is I think we hunt the same way. We like to follow our bird dogs. We love conservation. And I just would, if you're ever in the area, it'd be fun to meet a new person. And we like meeting new people, right,
yeah,
Travis?
Absolutely.
And we were only about 25, 30 miles from Dickinson when I was setting this hunt up through Dan and some of the areas. And so I sent him a note back saying, I'm gonna be there. What do you think? You want to get together? And he said, I'm dropping everything. I'll meet you. And he had two great Brittany's, Cooper and Dexter. Cooper's a younger one, and Dexter, I think he said, was 9.5 or 10. And we just had a wonderful day. We were hunting with him, and the whole hunt was a blast. The puppies did well. Mom did well. Jim has a draught that he hunts that probably has the strongest prey drive I've ever seen, both for birds and other critters too. And we had an adventure at the hotel that we won't talk about.
Fair enough.
And we had good weather, and we had moisture a little bit, which was good. We had one day that was perfect, and one day was a little windy, and which is all part of hunting.
Yeah, I think if we rewind probably 2 months, everyone is talking about the drought. What's going to happen? What and maybe it's just because we need something to talk about, and we want to talk about hunting. That we continue to focus on that. But now that hunting season's here, you've been out there. You've spent 7 days in the field hunting, 8 days in the last 2 weeks, and you've seen the birds that are out there. What does the habitat look like? Are you pleased? You feel like this is a good year out there?
I think it's a good year. I think it's comparable to last year,
which was also a good year.
Which is also a really good year. I definitely think the habitat in areas was thinner, but that's still there. And I think all the things you have said, Travis, or when we had some PF biologists on the show and stuff are accurate that it'll be fine if we have a normal or close to normal moisture year through the winter and in the spring. If we have a light winter, light snowpack, and then not much moisture in the spring, there could be problems next year. They have in these areas, they were getting moisture in late August and September that may have saved, not only crops, but some birds and things like that too. So I think the big thing is what's going to happen this winter and next spring.
Yeah, to be determined. What were the crop situations like? Everything out?
In Northwest, North Dakota, yes, they were out. There's a lot of wheat up there and some beans, I think some barley. Yeah, almost all of it was out. Where we were in west of Bismarck, kind of between Bismarck and Dickinson, most of it was out. There's still some corn up, which was kind of surprising. Yeah. But they'd had some moisture, so they weren't going in the fields. My guess is that will be out, though, if it's not out now, in the next week or so.
Yeah. Anything jump out to you or stand out to you that surprised you when you were out there?
Let's see. Well, on one farm, and this is not for, not bird hunting related, but we saw a lot of dead deer. And I don't know if it was blue tongue or the other disease they have out there.
Is it EHD?
EHD, yeah. I think it was EHD. I mean, we probably saw 5 dead deer, a couple big bucks. Yeah, that was sad.
That sucks.
Yeah, that was sad. We were getting, the one farm where the corn was up, it was obvious there was a lot of birds in the corn, but we were still getting them out of the ditches in between and had plenty of action that way. And just like we talked about before that, the further, kind of west of Bismarck you go in, the more you see sharp-tails and huns. I mean, the last walk we did of the show, of the hunt, we just wanted to do one more hunt in the morning. We needed to get some interviews done. And we hunted a piece of plots, and we shot, I think, 4 huns and 2 sharp-tails. Never saw a pheasant.
And that's okay.
And that was awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
We got to one spot where we all thought we were going to get a rooster up because we'd shot a few huns. I think we had at that point 1 sharp-tail. And all dogs are hot. The pointers are almost pointing. The lab's tails are going like this. Yeah. And all of a sudden, 10 huns get up. Like, oh my gosh. And I think we got 3 or something. It was,
oh man.
But it just took me a second to pick out a bird because that was not what I was expecting.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of it. That's what makes it so fun. And that's why I think the popularity is continuing to grow. And I just hope that those populations continue to rise. I mean, last year was up. This year, pheasants a lot of areas were kind of like stable to last year, but the reports are like there's even more huns this year than there was last year. And I just really, really hope that continues. You mentioned, hunting with Ryan, and I would say half of our shows we're probably filming with people that reach out to us like that.
Yeah, which is what we want.
Yeah,
I mean it's fun meeting new people and sharing the field. That's always a good day.
Yeah,
and then you learn some intricacies of the area you're hunting that you just can't learn in 4 days. Even if we're hunting with a biologist, let's say sometimes. Someone that lives in the area or hunts regularly in the area, they have some insights that help you learn to hunt. And I always enjoyed that. And you get to know someone who enjoys the show a little bit more. His dogs, where he hunts, what he likes. He's a big fisherman too. We have a standing date to go walleye fishing with him if we'd like to do that.
Sakakawea? Oh man, you're going to be ruined if you do it.
Yep. And
it's phenomenal out there.
And Ryan was that weekend going to hunt Mallard Island because he saw it on the show.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And he sent me some pictures. He said, we found birds. It was dry, but Cooper got a mouthful of porcupine quills. It's like, how is there porcupines on an island?
Well, there are certain times when the water goes down and you can walk across.
Okay.
And that might be, it really fluctuates depending on the Army Corps of
Engineers.
I see. So it's doable. Or in the winter, they can walk across
the ice, I suppose. But don't they hibernate? Or they go soft hibernation?
I'm an upland bird hunter. I'm not a porcupine biologist.
Well, will you get back to me on that then, please?
I'll get back to you on that. Where is that going to take me? I think, unlike deer hunting or big game, the reason that this upland community is so easy to connect with, I feel like, is because like I did the last 2 days, I just got in a truck with the guy and we went and hunted. And for me, I like going to places I've never hunted, even in my home state. Even though I walked that WPA 2 miles north of there, it's like I know there's birds there. I've hunted it, but let's go try this one.
Right.
And so it's so much easier to meet up with somebody and be like, hey, you want to go for a walk? You have the same interests that I do. I can see, like social media is great for people getting together and going on a bird hunt because you're just hunting public lands in different places instead of sitting in one deer stand for 5 days on a piece of land that you're not really moving around a lot. So
there's a social aspect to it.
The social aspect, it lends itself to being able to meet a lot of different people around the country. And obviously we like to tell a lot of different stories, so it works out well.
And deer hunting does too, but that's more back at camp, so to speak.
Yeah.
Then you share what you saw or if you got a deer or something like that. But with bird hunting, you're sharing that in the field and you're talking about it at the end of the walk or even at the flush or the point or the bird being down. And the same thing was with Jim and Dan. We had never hunted together. Jim has been my vet now, I think, for 3 years. And we'll go in there and start talking hunting. He's like, we got to do this. We got to do this. And we finally did it. And the same with Dan. When I bred Hank to Lucy, I said, Dan, it sounds like we hunt similarly. We got to try it. And we made it happen. And we did. We hunted hard. And that's the other thing. You want to hunt with people that hunt similarly, at least similarly to you. And we did. We worked hard. We walked. I mean, I think we walked 10 miles 2 days, and we were following the dogs and having high-fiving on a great flush or a retrieve or something like that, laughing at each other when we missed. And
that's hunting right there.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
And sharing a beer at the end of the hunt.
Exactly. So I feel like it's a natural call out if anybody has a great hunt idea for us for future. When you send them our way, we keep those.
We do.
And
yes.
Don't lie. Tell us the truth, but tell us how awesome it could be because we like to pick the best of the best.
Right.
and
then send Ron to the others.
Send Ron to the rest of them. Oh, man. A quick message from a couple of the companies that help us to make this show possible. Onyx Hunt is one of them. Besides a bird dog, a shotgun, and a good pair of boots, the Onyx Hunt app is one of the most valuable hunting tools that we take into the field every day. I've been talking about the Onyx Hunt app since we started producing this show, and that's because I use it on every hunt. Their app tells me everything that I need to know about the lands that I want to hunt and the lands that we can all legally hunt. If you've used it yourself, then you know that the Onyx Hunt app shows your location on planet Earth and clearly lays out the land boundaries. It also tells you information about the type of property that you're on, like state-owned land, federal lands, and walk-in access properties. It's ideal for scouting before the hunt and during the hunt to help put together patterns. The app also has new features this year that show you the kind of crops that are in fields, which obviously is a big deal for us upland bird hunters. If you hunt grouse in the north woods, there's a timber cut layer to help you find the ideal habitat. You can even separate young aspens. That's amazing. If you're planning to hunt in North Dakota this year, there's a very important layer that has been added as well. For the first time, landowners in North Dakota can post their property electronically. Onyx Maps have you covered to make sure you don't cross the line on property that has been posted electronically. These are just a few of the tools Onyx Maps give us, and these maps can even be used in areas without cell coverage. From the palm of your hand, Onyx Maps always help you to know where you stand. For generations, bird hunters have hit the fields carrying some form of a vest or game pouch on their back. Sometimes the vests rip, tear, and fall apart. Other times, they are downright uncomfortable. That's why Chief Upland designed a vest that's durable, comfortable, and fits your needs. Their new Upland vest is fully customizable to fit the size and shape of all hunters. Plus, you decide where you want to attach your shell pouches and accessories. Birds can be front-loaded into the game pouch, and they fit nicely in the back without sagging. That's a big deal because the weight disbursement on your back and shoulders won't tire you out on a long hunt in the field, even with a full pouch of birds. The vest itself is extremely lightweight, weighing only 2.56 pounds. The material is built out of Cordura fabric, which is the same waterproof fabric used in tactical military gear. You can confidently hunt with a Chief Upland vest in some of the world's toughest environments. Order your Chief Upland vest now to make sure that you're ready for your next hunt. Push further and hunt longer with a game-changing vest from Chief Upland, built for your pursuit. What do you have coming up?
Believe it or not, I'm going back to North Dakota on
Lucky,
Saturday.
Man.
Well, this is an annual trip I take with my buddies.
You better ease up here because you're going to take my sponsorship for North Dakota. Pretty soon, Scott's going to be voicing. If you want to go to my favorite place to hunt.
Well, I'm hoping Trav too that we can. We've talked about this, that I can get some duck hunt in, a nice field hunt in. I'm a little worried because the weather has been pretty nice here in the Midwest that the migration isn't fully on. But we'll be going up there, and these are all my college buddies, and we've done it for 20 years plus now, and we've brought some still college buddies that have kind of found the field later in life, and that's a lot of fun.
That's cool.
Millie's brother is going to be there, which will be great, and then Hank's coming with us. So we'll spread Hank's ashes in the spot where Izzy and Gus are too, and we'll all go out there and hopefully shoot a rooster and tell some stories and toast the dog.
Oh gosh, I got goosebumps just hearing you talk about that again.
Hank's got to go. He's got to get in the field. Yep. He's itching.
Yep. And that'll be a special time. You've done these hunting and fishing trips with your buddies for
long time. That makes me sound old now, Travis.
You're not young. I will just say that.
I'm in the prime of my life, buddy.
You're aging well, but you make these priorities, and I think it's important. And I don't need to get sentimental or tell people they need to go do stuff, but I've got a lot of personal things in my life. People that I know, a couple people have passed. Cancer's hit to a friend of mine in their mid-30s, and the outlook is not good.
Right.
And we're talking about how to help their 3-year-old, and I feel like we just have to make these priorities.
I agree. And I don't know. I think my parents kind of raised us this way, consciously and unconsciously, but it's with families and friends, it's about creating memories. There's a lot of ways you can do that. Ours just happens to be doing it outdoors.
Yeah.
But you can create memories with your family and friends by, always going to a ball, choosing a different ballpark and doing a trip, doing golf trips. So I know a lot of friends that do that. But make the memory because it's what you get to hold on to. And as Steve Olenschlager would say, take a picture.
Yeah.
Take a picture and save it because you'll go back. You might forget some things and you'll go back and look at it and you go, oh, I forgot about that. I love that. And we've even started writing it down. There's some place out in Montana sells these books that says, make the memory and write it down. And it's like, it starts when you went, how did you get there? Where did you eat? Cool people you met, things you did, that sort of thing. And we've, as a family, have done that now on our trips to Montana, and we go back and reread it and laugh. And I forgot about that. And I think I do it on my turkey hunting trips now too. And I think I want to start doing it on my bird hunting trips and fishing trips too.
Yeah, absolutely. It just doing it, and making that happen because, my wife, bless her, but I haven't seen her a lot lately, and she knows that there's this short window of every 365 days.
Right.
And it comes around, and before we know it, we're already halfway through. That's where we're at right now.
Yeah.
If we look at it, we're halfway through already.
And it's been such a great fall.
It has
Our
been.
weather has been perfect. It's been good for fall fishing early on.
Yep.
The bird hunting conditions have been good because we've had enough moisture with nice days that,
Yep. And I've talked about this on last week's show with Brian Kelvington from Federal, but he's a big grouse hunter. I love grouse hunting too. I've been up in the grouse woods, friends of mine. Minnesota is one of the great places to be this year because I mean, our grouse hunting right now is phenomenal. Pheasant hunting, even in Minnesota, is pretty dang
Very good
for Minnesota. I mean, we're walking on public ground and putting a limit of birds in your bag and having plenty of other opportunities. That's something to be happy about too, and that extends into Iowa and Nebraska and the Dakotas, and obviously you're going back to North Dakota. You're going back to paradise, and it's an exciting time of the year. I'll end with this, Scott. This spring I'm wearing a flush hat right now, and looking pretty dang good, if I might say so.
You look very good, Trevor.
Yeah, okay. And we have a few left that we're selling. We wrote a check to Pheasants Forever. All of the money that we raised by selling these hats and buffs, we have a few left in stock. So head to our social media pages at The Flush. You'll find a link somewhere in there that will direct you to the website, or just go right to our website, theflush.tv, and then you can buy them, and you'll look good like me, and you'll be putting more grass on the ground too at the same time. So we encourage you to do that. Any final thoughts?
I would encourage people to get their flush buffer hat. I personally love hunting in a buff, and I think you kind of do too a little bit. Especially in the morning when there's a little chill in the air. I love pulling that over my ear because I don't want to wear a stocking cap. That's too hot. And anyways, go buy your buff because we're working with a PF on this, and it's a good deal.
Yeah.
And I'd say if you haven't been out, get out. It's a great fall.
Yeah,
there's birds out there.
And don't forget about the people that don't have the opportunity to go.
Take them.
So I would just I'm setting up a hunt with my brother and dad, and I'm really looking forward to that. I don't know where we're going to go yet. I think I'm going to hook up the ice castle, and we're just going to drive west somewhere.
Perfect.
And spend the night somewhere. I don't know yet. I'm going to wait for deer season to end here in Minnesota, and then we're going to do that. But my brother hasn't been out hunting for pheasants yet, and I just want to get him out there. And he doesn't have a hunting dog, so he can go for that walk, but it's not quite the same.
If you have, this was what I would add to that. If you're a bird hunter, and most bird hunters have hunting dogs, not all, but if you have one and you have someone in your life that has expressed interest in going, take them out with you, because that's how they'll fall in love with it. When they get to see your bird, when your brother gets to see your Daisy lock down a bird, that's gonna be something they remember. And that's
he watched her chase them away last year, and I
but
told
now
him
he
she's
gets
learned
to
a few
lock
new tricks.
Yeah, and that lights the fire. Yeah. That I always had an interest in bird hunting through my dad. Our dogs were bird dogs and didn't hunt, but the first time I got to see a trained bird dog go out and retrieve a duck, I'm like, I'm getting one of those.
That's pretty cool.
That's pretty cool. And to find a wounded duck in the cattails and things like that. That's what hooked me. And we tend to think of ourselves in these situations, but get someone hooked on the outdoors.
Amen to that. Make it their normal. That's what
that benefits all of us.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we're really pushing with our family. It's just our normal life. It's not something different. My kids just think this is normal life, and we eat wild game and we love it. And we're excited because I've got a handful of roosters that are going into pot pies and a bunch of other recipes. And we get to experiment with them and say, what do you guys want to make with these? And then my son always likes jerky, so he keeps wanting me to do that. I'm like, now we'll do jerky with some other stuff. We're going to make some
other stuff.
Yeah, we got a couple of rough grouse too. So
let me ask you a quick question before we go.
Yeah, I'm the host. You can't
what's the coolest thing you've seen so far this fall when you've been out in the field?
I've seen so many cool things. I couldn't just pick one. I could do a whole show on the cool things I've seen.
Next week,
maybe. But watching dogs hunt at 14,000 feet while standing on top of a mountain is pretty cool. Mm-hmm. Just 2 days ago, watching my dog point pheasant after pheasant after pheasant after pheasant, and each one, just how we were finding them in thin cover, and how she had to pin them down. That when she's working left, right, and the cone angle gets shorter, and all of a sudden, like, hey, buddy, get up here because there's a bird in front of my dog right now. And then she locks up, and then that bird is still running, and then she goes and gets it again. Finally, she gets it into thick enough cover that it's not going to run, and you kick the grass right off of her snout, and there comes a big old rooster. And then
did you get that one?
Yeah. And then you botch it and go boom, boom, boom. And if you hear 3 shots, that's never good.
It's either they got a double or nothing.
Yeah, I've made some good shots this year, and I've made some that I'm still bitter about. That's the beauty of the hunt.
It is.
Yep.
It is.
We'll leave you with that.
Get outside, everybody.
Get out there. The hunting season is here, and it's a good one. So if you have any questions or guest ideas or television show ideas, send them our way. We want to hear them. We save them. We will hunt with you. Scott just proved it. You can watch all of our shows. They're airing right now on the Outdoor Channel, and shortly after the first of the year, we will be streaming them. We're excited for all of the hunts, and we hope you enjoy them. And thank you for joining us today. We'll be back next week with another episode of the Flush Podcast. I don't know what it's going to be yet, but I'm guessing it's going to be about bird hunting. I'm Travis Frank, reminding you to take the time to introduce someone new to the field.